the news media, nobody develops by talking about their strategy in public. In fact, in science, if you talk about your inventions, you cannot even patent it anymore.
And you are going to be okay. You know what? It's amazing how I had commemorated the 6 ladies that passed. And I'm going to connect the questions because it's all about mentorship and how we inspire young people to greatness. So we're going to have a link here. But before we go into the discussion, I'll be very grateful if my able panelists will just give 60 seconds introduction beyond what I've said about what they do, who they are. My brother, Ibrahim, would you be honored sister for us? Thank you.
60 seconds.
60 seconds.
I am Ibrahim Asante. I'm African. I am a husband and a father. I do commit, and I'm very particular about using the word commit, to 3 charities. There's a difference between involvement and commitment. When you use an egg, or when a hen lays an egg, and that egg is made into an omelette, that hen is involved in the breakfast. But when you kill the hen to make a sausage, that hen is committed to the breakfast. So I'm committed to 3 charities: Humanity First, St. Luke's Foundation, and Focus on Disability Foundation in the UK. I'm a scientist, business person, and an arts person, so I'm a hybrid. My motto is love for all, hatred for none. I'll leave it as such.
A round of applause. It looks like the introductions are already inspiring us. We can go home after that, right? Okay, my sister Bekere, please take the floor.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. What's this line? I wanted to say something in Ghana. I want to feel above.
You want to feel above, and you're allowed.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Bekere Amassoma, and I am Oracle Academy Program Manager for Sub-Saharan Africa. But aside that, I would borrow the words of my brother. I am committed, I'm very deeply committed by the way to volunteering and mentorship through communities that I support. So I'm very much interested in helping women come back to work because I've seen, particularly across Africa, how people, young women who had it going for them, but they got into marriages, had kids, and had to stop for care duties, take care of their families, and they lose track, okay, and their dreams are shattered. They don't know how to rise again. So I support communities like that. I help women relaunch their careers after a break. And I also am a mentor at an organization called Slum to School, where we help children who come from low-income communities stay in school and also, start off in school. So aside that, if it's not obvious, I'm a Nigerian.
It isn't at all, honestly.
But I call Accra my second home, okay? In the wave of people trying to jackpot, to move abroad. And I'm like, everybody, why are you still here? You could easily move to the UK. I'm like, okay, maybe if I get relocation to Accra, perhaps I can now leave Nigeria. Okay, but I feel here is my second home, and I've been renamed Amma.
Oh, okay. Saturday born.
Yes, so that's my Ghanaian name. I'm really pleased to be here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amma. Thank you so much. And let's go to my very good friend, Josiah.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Josiah Eyison. I work with entrepreneurs mainly because entrepreneurship is what I believe can unlock the key to the development of Africa. And seeing the youth engage in entrepreneurship is something that I'm really passionate about. So I can talk to you about raising funds, investment readiness, and just pretty much putting your ideas and then launching your business. So it's a pleasure to be here and looking forward to the conversation.
Thank you very much. A round of applause. And let's go to my sister, Elizabeth.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm Elizabeth Patterson. I'm the founder of the Girls Education Initiative of Ghana, GEIG. We provide academic and financial support for girls and applicants with special needs or disabilities so they could access higher education and professional opportunities I also consult for other nonprofits in the areas of strategic planning, project and program management. Thank you so much.
Thank you. A round of applause. A round of applause. Isn't it interesting that Elizabeth is dealing with something for Girls Initiative? And she mentioned how she bridges the gap between academics and the world of work. So I'm going to start with her. I'm going to make it relevant to what you do. That is how I roll, right? So as much as we're all affected by what has happened, I ask myself a fundamental question. What is wrong with the mindset of the youth? How could we leverage on what we are doing in the presence of now that, and I remember people were complaining that in the presence of technology, why would people have to come in manually for an assessment or whatever, or for a selection? And so, as easy as, an email or an application portal or what have you, probably we could have managed what happened. But beyond all of these systems flaws that we have, as a mentor myself, I wonder what if these ladies were in your initiative, they found themselves there, would they have found themselves there? How would you leverage, today we are all in the digital space, even if it's WhatsApp, even if it's Telegram, they are all technology. Now even Facebook has AI, whatever on it. How would you create a difference in the mindset of young girls today so that they will not find themselves dependent on a system that is yet to be fixed?
Right. So I think you answered yourself in the manner in which you asked the question. There's a lot of issues with our system, and I'm not here to solve it at all, but I don't see why in this day and age, students have to go stampede in order to get just a few jobs for them, right? So in my organization, if these young women were part of GEIG, what we would have done is facilitate introductions for them to get their CVs ready, and then whichever institutions are asking for them to come and be employed, they would apply online if there's the possibility, or they would have to research how to get their emails and the contacts out there so they could avoid having to go door to door in order to apply for a few positions that are not secured for them or guaranteed for them. So as you said, the system is very flawed and there's a lot of work that we have to do. So we have to start with the mindset. If we shift our mindset and know that we would get a few positions that are available for a lot of us, I think we will start to address some of the systemic changes, the systemic issues that are there.
So as you're speaking, I was imagining, I don't know how the army got all, were they 20,000? How many were they? 21,000. How they got them all to come there. I don't know what they used. I don't know how it was done.
I also don't.
Right. No, anybody here knows? Do you know how they got family? How they got them to register to stadium? What community? What do you, anybody knows? Okay.
Newspaper publications.
Oh. Say something, Josiah.
Okay, so I think on the other side, it's for me, it's almost most of these things, these positions are family connections, right?
Okay.
So you're in the army, so technically then your children then go into that. So in order for them to kind of eradicate entitlement mentality, they kind of create this scenario where if you get selected, then you're grateful that out of all of these people,
okay,
you got selected.
Okay.
Right? So you're almost like you're fighting for that position.
Okay.
But usually then it goes wrong.
Okay.
Because your father is in the army, naturally you then get into the army.
Okay.
Right? And, fireman, so you also become a fire person.
Okay.
So then usually because my father is chief of this, if you get the job, you might not really be hardcore. You might not, I'll say, cherish the position that you've been given.
Okay.
So to create that environment where you had to go and fight for the position, because most of the people being selected in.
All right.
right?
All right.
But then you also have to then ask yourself, it's a front end and back end issue. The people, the institution itself are not technologically ready.
Okay.
Right? But the youth that they're employing are way advanced in technology. So
Okay.
there's a mismatch, right? It's a mismatch.
Thank you, Josiah, for learning. And thankfully, you are the tech guru seated here. So, like I said, I like to connect the dots properly. So now, how would we have gotten, let's assume all the ladies there were like 10,000. Let's assume. How would Elizabeth use technology to have gotten all those ladies into an initiative so that she can help change their minds and then they don't have to be victims of a broken system? I don't think any of my children would apply for the army in Ghana. Never. I won't even allow you. Because the way it is done is unsafe. Now, the point is, people want to join certain professions because they think that is all that is available. You know, and unemployment, so they join. So that was what really happened. How can we use technology, get these girls to Elizabeth?
It's a great question. I think it's also partnership. A lot of us in the private sector, we are also as guilty as the government itself, right? Because when you look at Israeli systems or some of these American systems, they do national service. So even though you train as a military person, you can still be working in the private sector. So that when they need you, then that's when you go. Because you have to ask yourself, Ghana, technically, who are we at war with? We don't go to war with anybody.
But that's why there were many going there, right?
See, so in this case, these kids should have been, let's say, working in your organization, working in my organization. So then we can then set up the portal for the government. Okay. Because it's easier for us to sit back and say, oh, the government could have created a platform, but who's going to create the platform? Those of us in the tech industry, are we taking that initiative and saying, yeah, we can create a platform that makes it easier for people to register, to then, just like the way you can register to buy a ticket to go to Tidal Wave and Afro Nation.
Absolutely, those are AI empowered.
All right, it's exactly the same method. You design the front end, people apply, they get the application, they get their number, you load up your CV or whatever. It's really that basic. But the average tech person in Ghana is trying to either, like my sister said, japa, right? Or do remote work for big. We're not building systems that government can use. So we are not in a position to really tell government what to do when we are not even providing that solutions to them. But I think we also need to be in a situation where the army is not the only job that you can get. You can go and get training, but you can still work in the private sector. So that if, God forbid, if let's say Togo decide to invade Ghana, then you can go and fight. But for right now, 20,000 people queuing out there to go and get jobs that is only limited for 4,000 people, then what happened to the 16,000?
Now Josiah has brought another problem. You see, when we say mentorship, it's about empowering the younger people to be equipped for the future. Independence, employment, that is the main problem. Now Josiah has laid a foundation that we who are supposed to be tech savvy, tech intelligent, are not building the platforms so that when Elizabeth puts out her notice, come to the girls please, I'm just as an example, doesn't mean the boys are not, but I beg, I'm not that kind of a woman, please. And she wants to empower these women. It means that she's limited as she sits there. So you remember I was talking about partnership here, about how we all need help. So it means that if Team Josiah and Joshua and all the tech people seated here, where Sherry, in case you don't know, is a tech person too, decided that, they would want to partner with mentors like her, we can begin to solve our problem. Is that not the case? Oracle is seated here too. When it comes to tech, giants in tech. Oracle Academy. What are the solutions Oracle has currently today that can help facilitate any of us here who inspire the youth to mentor them into thinkers and leaders?
All right, thank you, Manny, for that question. And it's really sad to hear. I was, been in Ghana since Tuesday, and I even got a warning alert from Oracle that I shouldn't go near El Wak Stadium. I had no idea what El Wak was. I think it was on Thursday or something. So I now got to know there was a stampede. And it's so sad because we had a similar situation happen in Nigeria with the immigration recruitment and all, and it shouldn't be. Like I said, we've got broken systems across Africa. Just a few countries, are exempted. And so our young people must begin to rethink what employment is about, must begin to rethink skills and upskill and leave those, like you said, Ghana is not a war. Why are we recruiting 4,000? I mean, why are we not building manufacturing hubs to export things the way China is doing? Why are we not exporting tech talent, right? Why are we not building robots? Why don't we have factories for software developers? I mean, whatever. So what's it with military? When we're not a war. And so the way forward is, and I'm not just saying just as a tech person that everybody can do tech, right? So how are we encouraging our young people to pick up handcrafts? You see how he's singing, and he says he has 30 of that outfit. I mean, I don't know how proud we are as Ghanaians to show off, our heritage and all of that. Right? How many young people are we training to take over for people like him, for instance, become more culturally inclined and all of that? How are we pushing our heritage? How are we teaching young people how to even make shoes and handbags, handcrafts, and all of this? In that way, it is reducing unemployment, and we're not even relying solely on the government to get us employed. Then also there's a tech patch, right? People must begin to think about emerging technologies and look at skills. When I mentor young people, particularly people who are trying to get into higher institutions, I ask them, by the time you are graduating, go and search what would be the relevant job roles at that time. Then go and study it. Leave those, archaic things, because our curriculum are even not upgraded, they are not updated, right? So, I mean, a few years ago, I just heard about cloud. Now we're all doing AI, right? So how are we preparing our young people to sort of leverage, relevant technology and upskill so that we can become more relevant for the global economy and not even depend on the governments, here in Africa, right? Because even in Africa, you have to provide your own electricity. For me in Nigeria, your own borehole, that's water, your electricity, security. We've got vigilantes around all our estates and all of those things. Practically, you have solar to provide electricity for yourself. But look, if you earn in FX, I don't care, because that's a little compared to what I can get from abroad, right, with my rice. So why are we not looking at courses like virtual assistants? Why are we not looking at courses like content writing? Why are we not looking at courses like software engineers? Why are we not looking at courses like AI prompt engineers? Why are we not looking at raising people to become robotic engineers? Right, so for us at Oracle, we've got courses, free courses, by the way, around database, data science, cloud computing, project management, AI, generative, AI, how to build your own chatbots, and, around those. So I want us to check it out. They are completely free of charge, and sometimes we even run free Oracle certifications that are, paid for. So let's begin to demystify this employment thing and say we have to be employed by a certain body. Meanwhile, we can create jobs for ourselves. Take, for instance, last year while I came for the GDIW, somebody walked up to me and said that they needed 5 Oracle database administrators, that they were ready to hire them immediately. And I asked, and I kept asking, how many young people, do you know what database administration is?
And I'm sure they won't run a queue if you even called for that kind of training.
I couldn't find, because I kept asking, while I was around. And even here in Ghana, there's even so much demand for Oracle talents, because we've got partners who are working with the banks, yes, who are working with telcos, who want to employ people who have Oracle knowledge. But it's a challenge.
Wow. Are we thinking? This is serious. I'm getting revelations on this stage, right? And I'm wondering, my brother, Mr. Asante, connecting the dots from what your fellow panelists have spoken, how can we, fill in the gaps I hear that there's opportunity for jobs, and she's not getting stampede to get people. I'm really serious here. People are not running to her because they're not even trained in it. They don't have the skills. They've not even gone for the skills. Now I'm hearing that it's free. I don't know why people will give free training. Did you know? I'm surprised. We all thought you charge us for everything. Knowledge is very important. How can we? And I've noticed that one of the ladies I heard who died, I was told she didn't want to go. Her mom actually forced her to go. And the tragedy happened. And growing up as a Ghanaian, I lived in Nigeria, I had Ghanaian parents. There was this tendency to want to put you in a box and say, this is the way you ought to go if you want to prosper. I remember my mother always saying, do this so that your uncle in politics can connect you. You're this. She put that in my head. Thankfully, I don't believe in those things, so I didn't even mind her. And she was grateful I didn't listen to her. So from parenting to our school system, oh my God, it's like you're already destined to fail in Ghana. The school system also doesn't empower your mind. The same thing goes on, and then you graduate, you become a victim of your own country. How can we demystify and cure this menace so that we can redirect the youth mentored into real freedom and liberty of employment?
Firstly, I would like us all to acknowledge the presence of Her Excellency, the Ambassador of Suriname to Ghana. Please, let's...
A round of applause for her again.
For taking your time for this event.
What's going on?
The AI is also acknowledging.
Okay. Technology is acknowledging Her Excellency.
Whilst we sort out the technical issue, let us keep our focus here. If we think like expected, we will only survive as a people. If we think within the box, we will be stable as a people. If we think outside the box, yes, we will be successful. But if we can dare to think like there is no box, then we will become significant. Then we will move from mastery to artistry, where we can compose our own songs as Africans, where we can design our own collage, where we can build our own AI systems which are relevant to our people and for the world. Listening to my brother and sisters, connecting the dots. How many sides of a coin do we have, ladies and gentlemen? Who says two? Those who says two, please. Can I have your hand up? Don't be shy. We were taught two sides of a coin. But do we really have two sides to a coin? What about the middle? We have looked at sustainable production. It didn't work. Sustainable consumption, the second side of the coin, it never worked. What about the middle side? You can call it Ibrahim Asante's third side of the coin. That cements production and consumption, job creation and job uptake. You see, whatever we think about, we feel in our hearts. We think with the mind, we feel with our heart. What we feel in the heart, we say with the mouth. And what we say, we do. We put it in action. And once we act, we form a habit. And from the habit, the character is defined. And through the character of our people or individually, our future is impacted. They make it short. As a man thinketh, so he is. But the process is thought, feeling, say, do, habit, character, and future. What are the thoughts that we are sowing as seeds in our children? It doesn't start from when they are looking for a job. The thought we sow from the school is to compete against each other to the detriment of each other, not to collaborate with each other. The thought we sow from school is that agriculture is for punishment. Weeding is punishment. The very fabrics that we need to grow our country, we rather denigrate it to our children. We are a land rich with mineral resources, Do we teach mining in our primary schools? Do we teach mining in our secondary schools? So why not? Why is it not that when it gets to the point where we need people with certain skills in the mining industry, we have to import expertise? Thank God for Ghana's and Africa's awakenings to come up with local content laws where it is required that each expatriate organization must train our locals. And it now behoves us. We say Yanara Assassini, which means this is our land. It is an expensive land for us. The blood and toil of our fathers that was shed for us. And it is now the turn of you and I, say baby to fight and continue where our forefathers left. Whether this country, this continent, this race as a people, we will go forward or not. It is up to you and I. So connecting the dots, let us look at the third side of the coin. Let us not follow just the status quo where we are expected to think like everyone else, or to think within the box, or outside the box at best, but to think like there is no box. That we can design things to suit Africa. We cannot live on an island by ourselves. We live in the world, in the macrocosm. So what do? We must know what the world knows and know better than that. As my brother and sisters have already alluded to. Let us leapfrog. We cannot go through it step by step. We need to leapfrog. Let us, as a people, intentionally design how we train the children from age 0 to 7, the imprint stage. Languages, culture. Yes, I lived in the UK for 24 years of my life, but I still hold a Ghanaian passport. Why? Because my father ingrained in me that, Ibrahim, it is not the color of passport you hold, but it is the value you bring to the table that matters. And with that, with all the opportunities I had to do that, I said, no, I'll still keep my nationality and be a Ghanaian. How many people can do that? Because of what I went through as training. So again, it may sound philosophical, but let us look at the root cause rather than looking at the top part of the whole thing. How we train our people from home. The country is made up of cities. The cities are made up of towns. Towns are made up of villages. Villages are made up of houses. And houses are made up of different families. And families are made up of units. The husband, wife, and the child. Today, we are not linking broken homes to a lot of issues happening. We are not linking the unhealthy practice of where a man's role as traditionally is and a woman's role is, and merging the two. We are copying blindly other cultures, which is affecting us subtly, yet we don't know. We benchmark ourselves by degree. You are talking about Joshua. Joshua is one of the few people that epitomizes practicality over paper. You go to the UK, we have prime ministers like John Major without a degree. He became a prime minister. I can bet you if you don't have a first degree in Ghana, it will be difficult. But I will never say that. I would not allow my child or anyone to go into, let's say, Ghana Army. Yes, it may not be where we want it, but we have hope. Because if it's got to be, it's up to us. If we don't fix it, no one will come and fix it the way we want it to be and the way it should be. So yes, let us get our hands dirty. Let us roll our sleeves. Let us not only become poetry leaders, let us become the plumbing leaders. Let us stand as a people and say enough is enough. It ends with us, and our generations yet unborn or born will not go through what our forefathers went through. We are not going to sell ourselves. We are not going to sell our fellow brothers and sisters as slaves. It will never happen again because we know the light. And we are not also going to sell our mindset, emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. And as B. Mali said, we must free our minds. Thank you.
Round of applause for my able panelists. They have done good justice to the panel session. And I'd like to tell them thank you so much. Do you have any fun? Do you want to say something, Josiah? The way you heard the mic.
Yeah, just
all right.
I think when you talked about the mentorship, we always look at mentoring like the youth and everything. Maybe the government and all those institutions also need mentoring, right?
Oh no, he does have a point.
Because we've left that political space, and my brother Sheriff said something that really triggered. Because even me in the entrepreneurship space, I've seen everything that is happening with entrepreneurship, with the government, current government, and previous, and I never got involved in it because I don't do politics. But then when it goes bad, I'm there complaining about it, right? See, so if we know the right thing, then we need to then tell them, because it's easy. Joshua is teaching IoT. If you want to join the military and you want to trigger bombs and stuff, that's IoT, right? So they can go to school to learn how to use robotics so that if there's a bomb somewhere, you have somebody who's trained to do that, right? Cyber attacks happens right now.
Yes.
Where's Ghana going to go, right? We don't have people trained to do cybersecurity and everything else. Who are we going to fight? Russia?
We do, but they are not enough.
We do, but they're not enough. So we need to build capacity. So those of us that are really passionate about changing Ghana, and I like what you said, it's about us mentoring these institutions and disengaging. Whether people are going to see us NPP, NDC, no, we are Ghanaians, right? And if we want the right thing done, then we need to engage. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you so much. I think Josiah just gave me his final words. Elizabeth, your final words.
If I may, I think a lot of times when we think about government, we think it's like these people outside of us. But we have to realize that we are the government. We are the ones who elect these people to represent us. And so if there's any change that we want to see in effect, it has to start with us.
Thank you very much. Amma.
Go for a second. So for me, who is a very firm believer in Africa, I feel that the day we as a people rise up and defend our integrity, our land, then things will begin to change. It begins with us. I feel that the ruling class politicians, whatever they do, they're just about 1 or 2% of us. Like in Nigeria, we're over 200 million people, and I don't think we don't even have up to say 50,000 elected officials. So what's that number compared? Same thing with Ghana, right? But the day we begin to demand accountability from them, and we know our power, as that the power resides with us, the people, and not with the elected officials, then Africa will begin to change. Like he said, it begins with us. Even those of us who are not in politics, who are not in elected positions, what kind of life do we truly live, right? We are the ones encouraging corruption. We are the ones who are jumping queues. We are the ones who are trying to bribe policemen, to quickly get to where we're going. We are the ones even bribing our children's teachers to give them grades and make them prefects in primary schools. I mean, all sorts. We are the problem. Just leave, the government aside. I don't know what circumstances, around the people who that the stampede, but perhaps if there was more orderliness. Like if you go to Europe, you know that there are certain things you can't do, but immediately we come back to Africa, we go back to our old ways, right? So it's us. Then also I want to quickly touch on the volunteering and mentorship part. It's important for us as older people or wherever, mentor our peers, because a lot of younger people are looking for direction. I saw, at GDIW, we saw a couple of students and people were asking them, what do you want to do? And they said, I don't know. Right? So it's up to us to say, okay, it's okay that you do not have the answers right now, but your path will become straightened, probably when you get to even some people, when they even graduate from the university, they still do not know how to figure out what life is. So if you have a light, even if a bit, even if you yourself, you're looking for answers to some kind of questions, the onus lies on you to be able to show others the little life that you have. So I want to leave that with us today, that young person in your community, in your village, that is trying to figure it out, the little that you know, even in terms of career coaching, right? Tell them the kind of courses they should start to study or the kind of skills they need to learn. And it's not about, Western education all of the time. Do you know how to make hair? Do you know how to sew clothes? Those are skills that even if they need to, move abroad, it may even be more relevant to them than any education, that they've gotten. So for us older people, and I'm glad to see my sister Mamisewa here, and she's doing a lot with people, finding their purpose. I feel that, for those of us who have the tiniest of lights, we know the way a bit. We must deliberately begin to mentor and volunteer to help, the younger generation see the light.
Thank you so much, Bekere, for that. I'll go back to my brother Ibrahim. Your final words, sir.
Final words.
One day we'll have a whole
Africa.
session for this man. He's a powerhouse.
Africa must move from the mentality of change to transformation. The world is expecting Africa to change, but we must demand transformation. You see, there's a difference between change and transformation. Change is small, incremental. You see, the world wants to teach you enough to be able to serve us, the world. But you must transform enough to be able to teach the world. Are you getting it?
Yes.
So, you see, let me explain this. Change is, I move forward, I don't like it, I come back. Transformation is one way you can come back. When a sperm fertilizes an egg and it becomes a baby, can the baby go back to become a sperm? That's transformation. When an egg moves from an egg to cocoon and becomes a butterfly, can the butterfly become an egg again? That is transformation, ladies and gentlemen. And in English etymology, the study of words, trans means to move entirely from. So if I move entirely from one language to the other, I am translating. If I move entirely from one position, one port, to the other, I'm transporting. And until Africa, we move entirely from the form that we are in, we transform to the higher being form that we are. We have disconnected from our roots. Hence, we have become the best copycats. We appreciate original photocopies to the original stuff. So my words are, let us move from the mindset of change to transformation. That is one. Two, let us understand that we are the best. We talk too much. We speak very little. Again, there's a difference between talking and speaking. That is why in the classroom, those who make noise, the list is called talker thieves, not speaker thieves. And that is why in the parliament, the leader is the speaker of parliament, not the talker of parliament. And that's why when somebody speaks sense in public, we say he's a public speaker, not a public talker. Hence, talk is cheap. Any civilization that has made an impact stops talking and begins to speak. No wonder the good book says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, which means ordinarily the mouth talks. But when the heart is filled, that mouth stops talking and begins to speak. We need to behave like the dark Africans. On the surface of the water, we should be seen calm, but beneath, we should be paddling very hard. That is how China made it. That is how the Asian people made it. They were not talking about strategies and speed. You hear in the news media, nobody develops by talking about their strategy in public. In fact, in science, if you talk about your inventions, you cannot even patent it anymore. Because the secret is out, it's in the public domain. So there is a lot to say, but let's leave it for now. Let us believe in ourselves. Let's stop talking. Let's begin to speak. And for those who speak, they are quiet. Thank you.
A round of applause. Thank you so much. I think we can leave it there. I could listen to them till tomorrow, but time will not permit me. Patrick, could you come and let's take a picture of our panelists on stage, and then we'll go into, since our mother is here,